Hey everybody, I am back with some more SK breaking news. Now, some of this is already well known, some of it has already happened, and one thing totally came out of the blue and snuck up on me, and so I wanted to share it in case it had also potentially snuck up on you. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the recently released collection, The End of the World as We Know It. Now this is couple of dozen authors, I think, writing pieces that are set in the world of The Stand. So, of course, in The Stand, there's a core set of characters, even though it's quite a large set of characters that, we follow along their journey and the things that they do and the things that happen to them. But there's literally an entire world of other characters with their own adventures and things going on that we never get a chance to learn about in The Stand. Well, that's where The End of the World as We Know It comes in. If you haven't seen it, it is massive. It's like 750 plus pages in trade hardcover. It's a huge book with a really cool dust jacket. I got a couple of friends who have picked up the hardcover and they're already working through the stories, and early reports are that the stories are excellent. The Stand is obviously something that has inspired generations of writers, and this is, I think, just their golden opportunity to dive in and actually live and inhabit that world that they've thought about so much, that has inspired them so much in their own careers, and it shows. Personally, I picked up the audiobook and I'm looking forward to diving into it after I finish The Stand, which I'm actually currently listening to for the second time in my life. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it, and I just can't break my momentum to start something else simultaneously. So I've got The End of the World as We Know It kind of on the back burner, top of my pile to listen to in the near future. The next thing I wanted to talk about is kind of another off the beaten path kind of thing, and it's actually a children's book. And believe it or not, this will not be Stephen King's first foray into children's books. He, of course, wrote Charlie the Choo Choo, which is a picture book that features prominently in the Dark Tower series. And who can forget the pop-up book version of The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon? So both of these things are really interesting and quirky additions to your collection. Well, for fans of Stephen King's children's books, we have Hansel and Gretel, which is coming right around the corner. September 2nd, this will be released, and will marry Stephen King's words to Maurice Sendak's illustrations. Maurice Sendak, of course, is the creator of Where the Wild Things Are, In the Night Kitchen. Sendak's illustrations were originally created for an opera production that I guess never came to fruition. So someone in the Sendak Foundation reached out to Stephen King. I have no idea how this connection actually happened, but it would be really interesting to find out and pitch the idea. We have these images. Would you like to take a crack at retelling this story? And Stephen King apparently said yes, and the result is Hansel and Gretel coming September 2nd. In the description for the book, it says that this will be a quote-unquote chilling variation on the tale that emphasizes the dark and terrifying elements. Recommended for children ages 6 and above. So while it emphasizes the dark and terrifying elements, it is still apparently age appropriate for children 6 years of age or above. So I don't know if Stephen King himself came up with that age designator. I have a feeling that for his children, being 6 years old in his house probably felt a little bit different than being 6 years old in your average household. But if the publisher said for ages 6 and above, then I would stick pretty closely to that. But if you're thinking about picking this up and sharing it with your kids, you might just want to read through it first before you sit down and read through it with them.
And now a word about our sponsor.
For over 20 years, StephenKingCollector.com has been the internet's go-to source for all things Stephen King. From breaking news and real-time sales updates from around the internet, to forums where you can connect with like-minded collectors, to information about first editions as well as highly sought-after and rare limited editions, StephenKingCollector.com has it all. Additionally, the collector sells custom slipcases to protect your most valuable and cherished treasures. The collector now offers book sales directly through the website and an all-around upgraded and improved payment system. With improvements and updates happening on a regular basis, there's always something new to see and experience at StephenKingCollector.com. The link to the site is in the description for this video. You should go check it out. You'll be glad you did. And the last thing that I want to talk about today, the main reason that I was inspired to do this video, I try really hard to keep up with all the different publishers, all the different Stephen King news as it comes along for my own interest and so that I can share it with you. But sometimes things just completely fly under the radar, and this is one of those things. So yesterday, I had a question in my head about Stephen King's bibliography. So I went to Wikipedia and I was looking through the list of all the books. And just recently I did this, and at the bottom of the list was Talisman 3, which I've talked about before, and which apparently is a done deal and it's forthcoming, which is super exciting. But yesterday, below Talisman 3, I saw The End Times. And I had never heard of that before. I had no idea what that was. So I promptly scoured the internet to try to figure out what the heck is the End Times. So it's actually really, really interesting. The End Times is a collaboration with author Benjamin Percy. It will be released through Bad Hand Books, which is a very, very small specialty press. And it will be released in serialized installments that look like a newspaper. So every month, there were 500 physical print slots that sold out, and now what's left is the digital subscription. So every month, those 500 print subscribers will literally get a newspaper in the mail. And over the course of a year, you put all the newspapers together and it will tell a story. It will actually, I guess, be a long short story or a novella released in installments over the course of an entire year. The digital subscription, so you get the exact same thing, but you'll get it probably as a PDF in your email every month. You get the entire year subscription for this entire thing for only $15. So I will put the link to Bad Hand Books in the description for this video. I highly recommend that you go check it out and that you purchase a digital subscription to support the small press and to get this really, really interesting and unique idea shared with you in monthly installments every month for a year. What a deal. That's just over $1 per installment. That's really amazing. So I was talking to my friend and collaborator Thomas over at SK Collector to see if he had heard about this or if he knew more about it. And he said that it also slipped under his radar, which is pretty telling because he's one of the internet's foremost experts and foremost authorities on all things Stephen King. But he said that when he did a little digging, he learned that Stephen King's involvement in the project will be minimal. 10% of the written content will actually have been written by Stephen King, maybe less. But he's still participating in this in the great Stephen King tradition. As he's done his entire career, he's lending his name and his weight and his support to an up-and-coming author and also to an up-and-coming small press, which is really, really admirable and all the more reason to support this project. An additional bonus to the people who spend the $15 to get the digital subscription, ultimately you will receive a coupon for a percentage off the eventual hardcover omnibus release that will eventually be released by Bad Hand Books. So you spend your $15, you get all of the content, and then whatever the cost of the eventual book is, you will get a percentage off that cost. And I guess the book will be an oversized hardcover, so it kind of matches the format of newspapers. I doubt it will be, huge. I doubt it will be that big, but it will be, taller than your average trade hardcover to cover all of the content that is shared in these newspapers over the course of a year. So that in and of itself will be a really interesting thing. There may be a signed edition in that hardcover release that eventually comes out. I don't know. But if the price for the print newspaper edition and the digital newspaper edition are any indication, I would imagine the eventual hardcover would also be very, very reasonably priced. I just realized that I didn't say anything about what the story actually is, and I guess if you're like me, it hardly matters what the story is. You just get excited for the new Stephen King thing, and you're like, take my money, in this case, take my $15 for a year's worth of serial installments. But from the Bad Handbook's website itself, it says, get ready for an immersive, serialized, post-apocalyptic storytelling experience like nothing you've ever seen. A short novel delivered to your inbox in a series of monthly newspaper issues. Starting this November, Benjamin Percy and Stephen King bring you The End Times. As the world struggles to begin again, years after a pandemic wipes out most of the population, it sounds familiar, a woman finds meaning as a writer and editor when she revives an old printing press and begins publishing a small-town newspaper. This is a tale of quirky humor, startling fear, deep love, faith in humanity, and ultimately, hope. Subscribers will receive this stunning story of humanity's survival against all odds as a monthly email. And it will have illustrations and masthead design by Matt Bowers. So I don't know about you, but listening to that description really reminds me of The Stand and kind of makes me think of the collection The End of the World as We Know It. It's like if Stephen King himself was going to participate in one of these stories in that collection, this might be it. But still, regardless, it sounds really interesting, and it's a great example of Stephen King supporting an up-and-coming writer, supporting an up-and-coming press, well worth supporting. And again, I will put the link to the website in the description for this video. So let me know about all the things. Did you pick up End of the World as We Know It? Have you started reading it? What do you think? Do you think it holds up to The Stand? Do you think it makes an interesting and worthwhile addition to the world of The Stand, or is it kind of superfluous? And let me know about Hansel and Gretel. Are you planning to pick this one up? Are you planning to read it with the small children in your life? And finally, End Times. I'm mostly curious to know if you had heard about this, if you had already ordered it, or if, like me, it came as a complete surprise to you. I want to know all the things, all the thoughts that you have about all of the subjects we've discussed here today. But anyway, thanks as always to channel sponsor Thomas over at SK Collector. Thanks to channel member Mr. N. Dean, and thanks to you, the viewers, the subscribers, for your ongoing support of me and of the channel. It means the world to me. So until next time, wherever you are in the world, I hope you take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you later. Bye.